Good evening, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Wanted to talk to everybody tonight about some hospitality in these times of wearing a mask. These times of people thinking they can kidnap your children through private actions, things like that. And the war that's going on your spirits. So we're going to hang out for a few minutes, let some people join. Please feel free to share the video. I think it's an important word to get out, as we are truly all ordained, and that ordained concept is in hospitality. And hopefully I'll be able to point that out as I go through and show you some specific verses and stuff in relations to Jeremiah 1 verse 5, one of my favorite verses, because that's where it tells us that we're ordained, sanctified, and this is something that's done before we're formed in the belly. It tells us we're known, and that knowing is the purpose, the intent. And thus the intent of being sanctified and ordained prophets unto the nations, according to Jeremiah 1:5, is to be hospitable. As we travel ourselves, we expect hospitality because of the likeness and image that is inherent. We're supposed to be peaceful people. And then when we settle down in our lives in our older age, after we've gone about and done our sojourn and written our journal so we can perform the Jubilee and settle down and start actually teaching in one local area, then we're able to take upon those other sojourners that are coming to our door and treat them with hospitality. It's a two-way street, even whether we're traveling or whether we're stationary. And it's important to realize that it all comes from within us. It's not that we need to travel somewhere else to find peace. We have to find peace in ourselves. So, let's get started. Downsize my screen just a little bit here. Okay, we're going to start out with Deuteronomy 28, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to read through 14, because it's the basic concept of what we're supposed to do, and then the rest of the verse is telling us the consequences of what not doing this is going to be. And it says in Deuteronomy 28, starting out with the first verse, "And it shall come to pass, what is done is what ought be done, there is nothing new under the sun. If thou shalt hearken diligently," not just observing. We don't live by bread alone. We have to practice this. We have to do what we preach. We have to preach what we're going to do. "Unto the voice of the Lord." This is the source of what we're supposed to do and what we're supposed to sing. "To observe and to do all his commandments." What I just stated, diligently. We don't just look at it. We have to observe and do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So when we take upon the name of a nation, we sit within the nation, and he cannot put us above the nations, because we have given up the seat of the higher realm for a seat in the nation. We are not of this world. We are in this world. When we start partaking in the activities in this world on the fictional basis of persons, we must remember he is a respecter of no persons. Every nation today is by a name known as a person. And all these blessings shall come on thee, and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed thou shalt be in the field. He preserves thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. As long as you carry your word, you are safe in the lion's den. You are safe in Mother Nature. He provides you just as much as he provides for every little creature. He provides for yourself. When you're in the city and you're depending upon survival of strangers selling their wares, he protects you through his knowledge. Seek his counsel, and he will give you the answers to every question that those sellers are asking you. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, the fruit of thy body being the thought and the heart. That's how you yourself grows outside of your body, is by the effect that you have. That is your fruit. You go forth with your 5 talents and you come back with 10. If you're doing a good job. If you go forth with 5 talents and you only come back with 4, you screwed up. Or if you even only come back with 5, you didn't do your due diligence somewhere along the line so that you could actually do an effect. And the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, and the increase of thy kind, thy cattle. In other words, the fruit of thy cattle is the meat or the milk or whatever you're going to get from the cattle, and the increase of the cattle. Kind means cattle. And the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. Again, reaffirming, he preserves thy going out and thy coming in. As long as you follow his word, he will protect you everywhere you go. The Lord shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee before thee 7 ways. Isaiah 54 verse 17 talks about speaking against those that would come against you with a tongue for prosperity and take advantage of you. Speak the righteous word of the Lord, and they will run. We shall condemn them with the righteous word of the Lord's. The Lord shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thine hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. This is the sojourner coming to us and providing, or us providing hospitality for them. We are blessed, and he will give us storehouses. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee. All you got to do is follow his way. You don't have to be a particular house anymore. You just merely need to recognize a house, know what you're talking about, and follow it in that way. This is the thing that tears apart the racism. Even in the beginning of man, even if a dark-skinned man professes he is the original man of God, and that we are some kind of, as white Caucasian peoples, some kind of definition or derogation from that, he still must admit that we must come from him then, and he coming from the Father, then we too must come from the Father. Quit letting that standard bullshit of census bureaus and their statistics and categories and all that destroy you. It is image and likeness. Nothing more, nothing less. And we are in an image and likeness of the smallest creature in a greater form. The Lord shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee. He gave the immutable promise to us and all of the fathers before us, the same as he gave to Abraham, the same that he gave to Abram when he renamed him in that new promise from the Old Testament, so we would no longer sacrifice his creatures, that we ourselves would be sacrifices to him according to his will. If we follow his will, we are not sacrificed. If we don't, we are sacrificed in war. We shall die by the sword, and he will look away. If thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God and walk in his ways. Peace and love. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by name. Thee are mine. So when they call my name, they are calling first and foremost, before they utter another sound, they are calling the Spirit of the Almighty God in heaven. And the Lord shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, in the fruit of the cattle, and in the fruit of the ground, in the land which the Lord sware unto the fathers to give to thee. The land shall not be sold forever, for it is mine, and ye are strangers and sojourners with me. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore, because he knew thee before he formed thee in the belly, before thou wast cast from the womb. He sanctified thee, he ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. Telling us we are already above the nations. And if we give unto the nations and take upon a personage of a nation of men, then we have already forsaken our Father which art in heaven for a lesser glory and a privilege of materialistic, carnal things. The Lord shall open unto thee his good treasure. The Lord provides the opportunities. He provides doors if you see them. And you have the ability to shut doors and open them yourself. It's your choice. The heaven to give the rain unto thy land in his season, in his time. Be patient, want for nothing. He gives all you need. Even 40 days and 40 nights in a desert. And to bless all the work of thine hand. This is what we're supposed to do our good works with, is the hand. And it extends from the heart and the mind. And it's the hand's works that tell other people whether we are following his word or the word of a nation. Are we a bricklayer? Are we building cornerstones of houses and monuments? Are we building stone statues of other men? Or do we hold the image and likeness of ourselves in our hearts and know that that's where everything comes from? And we need not idolize another man by statue, whether it be concrete, stone, gold, paper, any kind of artwork. That's their vision. That's what they wish you to follow. They want you to see all their glory and their gold and their silver sovereign coins. Come on, people. Coin your words or purse your lips. For a word fitly spoken is like golden apples in silver frames. And thou shalt lend unto many nations. This is our stores. When we prosper in his word, we have plenty to lend, so we may lend. And thou shalt not borrow. Owe no man anything. Follow the way of the word of the Lord, and he gives you everything, and you shall not want. You shall not want any time to ask for another man's needs or services or products. You never need to indenture yourself to another man. 13, and the Lord shall make thee the head and not the tail. That's why we don't have tails, people. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Lord thy God, which I command thee this day, to observe and to do them. Man, again, does not live by bread alone, and by sowing the seeds first, he then can reap them. When he reaps them, he has the the power of knowledge of his own actions in faith in this land with the word of our Father in heaven. He gives us the instructions simply by watching the rest of the creatures do what they do in all of their harvesting. They need not tender the soil. It's done naturally. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. So, anything written by the right hand or by the left hand for other gods and under other men's views and artwork, their artistic twisting of the words, question them all, people. Question them all. Know that he gives you everything you need. Get rid of all that turmoil in your heart, please. And it shall come. This is Isaiah 22, and I start at verse 20. And again, the beginning of this will tell you more, so I urge you to read the beginning of this. But I'm starting at 20 to kind of help tie in Deuteronomy, the first 14 verses of 28. Isaiah 22 continues on at verse 20. And it shall come to pass in that day, when you follow the words of the Lord and do as he commands, that I will call my servant. Here it speaks of Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah. He will call you. He will call yourself, and it shall come to pass in that day when you observe him and do his commandments. He will call you his servant and will clothe you with his robe, the full armor of God. And I will commit thy government into his hand. He will give you words to coin, showing that you follow his word, and any others that wish to follow, they can appreciate your words and the value therein, not by some sovereign coin. And he shall be a father to the inhabitants of Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. And the key of the house of David will I lay upon his shoulder, so he shall open the doors, and none shall shut, and he shall shut the doors, and none shall open. I hope you guys see how this correlates, and how important it is to read these biblical scriptures and not take things out of context, but to read them all and know them, and so you can correlate them from one passage to another without confusing people, and show them the depth of how this knowledge actually works, and how you can use it against these slanderers, the writers of their own fiction. It's not your story, people. You write your own story by your own words. Make sure you know where they come from, please. And I will fasten him as a nail in a sure place. This is when I pass on, and the words that I speak are fastened as a nail in other people's hearts. And he shall be for a glorious throne to his Father's house, and it will be a passage so they see the same way I see, so they too can join the glorious throne of his Father's house. It's up to them to observe and do. All I can do is express what I see and how I do it. And they shall hang upon him all the glory of his Father's house, the offspring and the issue, all vessels of small quantity, from the vessels of cups even to all the vessels of flagons. That's everything in perpetuity. That's his legacy in you. That's not just your children. That's your children's children, your children's children's children, as it was your fathers and mothers, your fathers and mothers, fathers and mothers, your fathers and mothers, fathers and mothers, fathers and mothers, all the way throughout time, both before and in the future, as it is now. What is done is what ought be done. There is nothing new under the sun. This is all you need to know. You've always been provided for. There's always been the providence of his grace, the intercedence of his favor. Ask, and ye shall receive. You see the root there? You see the root of the nations that fly flags? A large container in which a drink is served. They're serving you intoxicating spirits in vessels of words, typically with a handle and a spout, both with hands and mouths. A container similar to a flagon used to hold the wine for the Eucharist. They're taking the wine and making you drunk with its words. We continue on. Now let me finish up here the last verse of Isaiah 22. In that day, this is equity, people. In that day, in personam, in the now time, saith the Lord of hosts, shall the nail that is fastened in the sure place be removed, and be cut down and fall. And the burden that was upon it shall be cut off, for the Lord has spoken it. You get rid of all the nails of the false words, and they're going to get cut out. They're going to be removed from your heart. Fear not, for I have redeemed thee, and I called thee by name. You are mine. In that instant, no one else can make a claim. None. And it says, let us come therefore boldly unto the throne of grace. Remember, I was talking about providence of grace, throne of favor, that we may obtain mercy and find favor to help in time of need. That's Hebrews 4:16. Let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. So when we do want, we are to ask him, not another man. We are to boldly come upon the throne of grace and ask his favor, his providence, that we may obtain his mercy. Isaiah 62 verse 10. Go through the gates that you open, never having to worry about the gates that you close, the ones with all the fiction titles and the numbers of the addresses. Address, because now you are dressed in the proper clothing. You need no further add to that. Prepare ye the way of the people, the way of the people. Cast up the highway, gather out the stones, and lift up a standard for the people by your actions, by showing them your actions of his words are true, showing that his words are true. And we do that by using hospitality to one another without grudging. This is a very important point, people. Grudge, to murmur, to complain. You know, when they file a complaint in court, to begrudge, envy, wish to deprive, you know, when they want to charge you with something. They want to deprive you of commercial Federal Reserve notes, commercial paper, depriving you of rights, interest, titles, dividends, debentures, derivatives, all those things that people talk about. They want to imply a debt. You cannot provide hospitality by exchanging it for a debt. It proves the same thing as the oxymoron of being a sovereign citizen. You cannot possibly hold out to be a church under 501c3. You cannot possibly be holding out to be a hospital that charges pecuniary, and then under that pecuniary charge to the formation of another commercial paper, hold out a debt in perpetuity for commercial purposes of persons. Ill will, excited by some special cause. So when a private woman goes into a public hospital in her special cause of having labor pains, because a child is about to be born, a legacy heir of our Father which art in heaven is about to be born, and they classify it as a spell of illness under 42 USC 1395X, wherein the hospital furnished inpatient services. No matter who you are, when you walk in that hospital door and they furnish you hospital inpatient services, they call it a spell of illness. And they hold a grudge against you for the rest of your life unless you find out how it's being held and where it's being held and how to deny it. So I continue on. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man hath received the gift, even so minister the same one to another, as good stewards of the manifold. Remember, I spoke about the manifold dispatch in reconciling the master trust account. Manifold grace of God. And remember, I told you you have no tail. And that's because we are manifold. When we sit at the seat of the throne with the right hand and the left hand, and we are centered in the heart, and as a man we can fold into many shapes. We can do many things because we know His power, and we can fold papers in many ways. The Chinese do origami and create shapes, physical shapes that you can observe without words, yet it says so much more than a word or any words that are put on that paper. This is called speaking with the heart and being true stewards of the manifold grace of God, as it said. So we'll finish up real quick with the last one there. As it says, again, I say, coin your words or purse your lips. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Jesus Christ, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. So even if you are dragged before the court Let them know that before they have uttered another sound, when they first called out the name Keith, that they already called upon the Almighty Spirit of God. And that's what I observe, and that is the way I walk. Let it not be misconstrued by your fictional paperwork. Slander his good name through me, and you slander me and him, and we will both speak out against you. Anyway, I'm done for now. I'm going to get ready for tonight's Zoom meeting on reconciling the master trust account. And in the meantime, remember guys, if it wasn't for you, gals, people, brothers, sisters, neighbors, moms, dads, I love y'all. Have a good day.